Most men go through life never truly understanding what happened to them until it's too late. They sit in silence, confused, broken, and betrayed, trying to make sense of how the woman who once said she loved them suddenly turned cold. She didn't just walk away, she seemed to switch off. And that shift is what haunts men the most. What they don't realize is that the woman didn't change overnight. She was always living in a different reality, one that runs on emotions, not logic. Women live in a world that doesn't exist. It's not because they're evil or manipulative. It's because their perception is filtered through emotion, not grounded in facts. They don't interpret the world as it is. They see it as they feel it should be. That emotional lens reshapes everything: memory, promises, loyalty, even identity. A woman can say she loves you and genuinely mean it, but if her feelings change next week, so does her definition of love. And in her mind, nothing is broken, nothing is wrong. Because in her emotional reality, the truth has simply shifted. This is why men are left speechless. You thought things were going great. You showed up, you provided. You loved her in the way you thought mattered, but she no longer felt it. So she rewrote the story. Now you're the villain, or the one who didn't understand her. And when you ask, but what about everything you said? She look at you like you're the crazy one. She lives in a world where Tuesday's truth can become Thursday's. Betrayal land, she feels no guilt about it. It's not because she's heartless, but because in her world, she wasn't lying. She just felt differently. This is the root of the confusion, the emotional exhaustion, the sense of betrayal. We're dealing with someone who doesn't live by the same rules of logic and emotional continuity that you do. Until a man understands that women operate from this emotional framework, he will continue to be manipulated, drained, and left wondering why nothing ever makes sense, because he's grounded in reality. She's guided by emotion, those two worlds rarely speak the same language. When a man falls for a woman, he often believes he's falling into something solid, something mutual, something real. But what he doesn't realize is that in many cases, he's falling into her fantasy, not a shared reality. Women are masters of emotional projection. They don't fall in love with you. They fall in love with the idea of a version of you that fits the story they've built in their minds. Before she even knows your character, your history, or your values, she's already imagined the relationship, the future, even the emotional highs that don't exist yet. She creates a castle in the sky and places you inside it. You didn't build it, you didn't ask for it, but you're there. And the problem is, you start believing in it too. You start thinking the connection is deeper than it really is, that the passion is rooted in something lasting. But the truth is harsher. You're not bonding with her soul, you're being cast in her movie. And once she sees you for who you truly are, a flawed, real human being, the illusion begins to crack. Disillusionment sets in, and the passionate affection starts to disappear. You'll notice her growing distant, colder, less present. You'll ask yourself, what changed? What went wrong? But what you don't realize is that nothing went wrong. The fantasy just couldn't survive reality. The woman you miss, the one who was Ellen, expressive and emotionally intense, she never truly existed. She was a reflection of her own projection, not a reflection of your actual bond. This is why women can say things that completely contradict each other and still believe them. I want a strong man who's sensitive. I want a provider who doesn't care about money. I want a leader who lets me lead. These aren't logical wants, they're emotional contradictions that feel true, because she's not operating from a place of reason. She's chasing a vibe, an emotional frequency that constantly changes. When that frequency fades, so does the version of you she built up. Not because you did something wrong, but because the illusion stopped feeding her emotional needs. Unless a man sees this pattern for what it is, he'll keep trying to bring back a woman who never truly existed. He'll try to win her back with logic, effort, or proof, never realizing he's chasing a dream she already rewrote in her mind. Modern culture has done something dangerous, has told women that every feeling they have is valid, that their emotions are always right, and that discomfort is a sign something is wrong. So when a woman feels uncertain, bored, triggered, or simply unfulfilled, She's taught not to examine herself but to point outward. Blame the man. Blame the relationship. Blame anything but her own expectations. This conditioning creates a mindset where reflection is replaced with reaction, and where accountability is drowned out by validation. This is why women move from one relationship to the next with the same emotional script. He didn't make me feel seen. I just didn't feel safe. He didn't understand me. At first glance, these seem like legitimate complaints, but dig deeper and you'll see a pattern. She's not leaving because of abuse or betrayal. She's leaving because reality failed to match the fantasy in her head. And the moment things get hard, when sacrifice is required, when patience is tested, she's gone. Because she was never taught that love is a choice. She was taught love is a feeling. So when the feeling fades, the love must be gone too. No one told her that true love is built through commitment, consistency, and mutual effort. Instead, she believes love should be effortless. Like the stories she sees on Instagram Reels and Netflix dramas, she expects constant butterflies, never-ending attention, and the high of early infatuation to last forever. So when that emotional high naturally dips, she feels like something is wrong. Instead of working through it, she chooses escape. Because that's what the world encourages. If it doesn't feel right, leave. She isn't broken. She's following the script written for her by a culture that celebrates impulsiveness and emotional worship. And as a man, if you don't recognize this script, you'll keep blaming yourself when she withdraws. The hard truth is this: you can't reason with someone who's living in an emotional echo chamber. You can't explain reality to someone who's been taught that feelings define truth. Your logic won't save her. Your consistency won't ground her. And your love won't change the fact that she's chasing something that doesn't exist till she confronts her illusions. She keep running from good men to chase better feelings, and the chaos will repeat again and again. There comes a point in every man's journey when he realizes that no matter how much he gives, no matter how present, loyal, or dependable he is, it's never enough for a woman who is emotionally unsettled. This realization doesn't come easily. It often arrives after heartbreak, betrayal, or months of emotional confusion. You try to understand what went wrong. You replay every conversation. You second-guess your actions. But the answer doesn't lie in something you failed to do. It lies in something deeper. She wasn't connected to you. She was connected to the version of you she created in her mind. And the most dangerous part? That version changes the moment her emotions do. See, in the early stages, when she's excited, curious, and hopeful, you can do no wrong. Your flaws are charming, your silence is mysterious, your ambition is attractive. But over time, when routine sets in and the emotional highs dipped, those same traits become irritants. Your silence becomes neglect. Your ambition becomes selfishness. Your calm energy becomes you don't care about me anymore. Nothing actually changed in you. What changed was her emotional state, and her entire perception of you followed. This is the emotional fragility most men are never warned about. You think love is built on truth, on shared values, on actions. She thinks love is built on how she feels in the moment. And when those feelings fade, she rewrites history to match her new emotional landscape. The same woman who once said, "You're the best thing that's ever happened to me," will now claim, "I never really felt connected to you." And she'll believe it, because her emotional reality is her truth. As a man, this can be soul-crushing. You're left with the emotional debris of a relationship you thought was real. You begin to question your worth, your identity, even your masculinity. But here's what you must understand. Her instability is not your failure. Her confusion is not your responsibility. Her inability to stay grounded in emotional consistency is not a reflection of your value as a man. This is why strong men detach, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. They stop trying to fix women. They stop chasing emotional validation. They stop sacrificing their mental peace to meet ever-changing expectations. They recognize that a woman who cannot regulate her emotional world will always drag you into chaos, and no amount of logic, effort, or love can stabilize someone who doesn't want to be grounded. When a man finally embraces this truth, he becomes dangerous in the best way. He no longer tries to be the hero in someone else's story. He becomes the author of his own. And in doing so, he stops asking, "What did I do wrong?" and starts asking, "Why did I ignore the signs?" Because the signs were always there. The shifting moods, the emotional contradictions, the inability to be content. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's when real freedom begins. Eventually, a man either breaks or he wakes up. After enough emotional betrayal, enough broken promises, enough women claiming they just need time to figure things out, he hits a wall. But what feels like the end is often the beginning of something powerful. Clarity. It's in that silence, that heartbreak, that solitude, where a man finally stops looking for answers in her and starts looking within. And what he finds is both sobering and liberating. He realizes that love, as he's been taught to understand, it is not what women are offering. They don't love you for your sacrifices. They don't love you for your stability. They don't love you for your patience, your loyalty, or your consistency. They may appreciate it for a while. They may benefit from it. But the moment it no longer excites them, the moment they're emotional, craving isn't being met. All that you've built with them can be dismissed, discarded, or rewritten. Not because you failed, but because the love was never unconditional. It was transactional, emotional, and fleeting. This is the truth most men resist because it's painful. It shakes the foundation of everything we're taught. From childhood, we're told to be nice, to protect, to provide, to prove ourselves worthy of a woman's love. But no one tells us that the love we're chasing may not be real, not in the way we experience it, and love differently. We value loyalty, history, and principle. Women, on the other hand, love based on how they feel right now. And when their feelings shift, their love often goes with it. So what's the solution? It's not to hate women. It's not to retreat into bitterness or resentment. It's to understand the game and stop playing it like a fool. A man must realize that his peace, his mission, and his self-worth come before any romantic connection. You don't chase love, you build a life so full, so disciplined, so grounded, that love becomes a bonus, not a necessity. When a man stops seeking external validation, when he stops trying to be chosen, everything changes. He no longer gives his energy to women who are emotionally unstable, manipulative, or constantly in search of the next thrill. He sets boundaries, not out of fear, but out of strength. He becomes selective, measured, and focused. And ironically, this is what draws in women even more. Not because he's trying to attract them, but because he's no longer controlled by them. That's the shift. That's when you become dangerous, not with rage, but with calm. Not with control, but with presence. When you finally understand that her love is not your reward and her approval is not your goal, you become untouchable. And from that place, you no longer fear losing Herbie, because you finally found yourself.